call me Roy.
Hi, welcome to Roy's Book Reviews. Welcome to Roy's Book Reviews. Today I would like to talk to you about a novel entitled The Changeling. It is by Victor LaValle, and I found it to be a highly engaging, absorbing read. Victor LaValle effectively got me to connect with the lead character, a man named Apollo Kagwa, who first and foremost wants to be a good father to his son Brian. He also wants to be a good husband to Emma, which is easy at first since he is deeply in love with her, but becomes more difficult when he sees a growing disconnect between Emma and their child. As the story moves along, it toes the line between being a realistic story of a modern family and an updated, dark fairy tale. The narrative pace is suddenly quickened when Emma attacks her husband, leaving him seriously injured, and she murders their son. Emma escapes from the scene of the crime, leaving behind nothing but questions about her bizarre, unforgivable actions. Once Apollo is able to leave the hospital, it is a completely changed world that he returns to. No longer a father, unsure of the whereabouts of his wife, and once he learns that Emma is still alive and in hiding, determined to track her down and exact revenge. All is not as it seems, however, as the title of this book gives away. Apollo's wife may not have been who he thought she was, but can the same be also true of their baby boy? There are a bunch of twists and turns along the way. Other notable characters, such as Apollo's best friend, Emma's sister, and a man who wants to buy a valuable signed first edition book that was acquired by Apollo in his line of work, alternate from seeming like a friend to appearing to be a foe. Apollo does not know who he can trust, who is trying to help, whose goal is to hinder and harm. But this does not deter him from seeking the truth, no matter how strange and otherworldly it turns out to be. I am not going to delve deeper into plot points in The Changeling because I feel like they venture into spoiler territory. And in my opinion, the less you go in knowing about the storyline, the better your reading experience will be. I did not find The Changeling to be unflawed, but all flaws in a novel are forgivable, so long as I am compelled to keep reading it. That was very much the case here, as I tore through this book at a furious pace. As someone who grew up in New York City, I appreciated the familiar setting as well as new things about the city that I learned. No matter how much one may know about the Big Apple, you can never know it all, never know enough. Thanks to The Changeling, I'm now familiar with the existence and fascinating history of North Brother Island. It was also cool that my old neighborhood of Forest Hills, Queens, played a pivotal role in the story. I also learned that while Where the Wild Things Are may be the best known children's book by Maurice Sendak, he also wrote one that is central to the plot of The Changeling, entitled Outside Over There. Apparently, Sendak's early awareness of the Lindbergh baby kidnapping that took place when he was around 4 years old stuck with him and inspired Outside Over There. Sendak described it as part of a type of trilogy based on psychological development from In the Night Kitchen, first one for toddler, to Where the Wild Things Are, preschool, to Outside Over There, pre-adolescent. The Lindbergh baby kidnapping influenced Maurice Sendak to write Outside Over There, which influenced Victor LaValle to write The Changeling. Perhaps the chain of influence will continue. Who knows? Another tale reference to The Changeling is Rapunzel. We think of fairy tales as being innocent stories told to entertain children. But if you go beyond the sanitized, Disney-fied versions to the original fairy tales, you'll recognize how ominous they started out as, that they were warnings of perils that lay in wait at the end of childhood. There is no mistaking The Changeling for being a children's book, but categorizing it as an adult fairy tale is probably an accurate label. Those who enjoy novels in the horror genre should definitely add The Changeling to their reading list. As for those who usually steer clear of such material, you might want to make an exception and check this book out, so long as you take care to first examine the trigger warnings. The author's work that I was most reminded of in reading The Changeling is Neil Gaiman. I don't believe in equating art and artist. Terrible people can sometimes make great things. But if you're less able than I am to separate storyteller from story, and have canceled Neil Gaiman from your planned reading list due to recent revelations about him, let me direct you instead to the engaging prose of the talented Victor LaValle. So, in short, this was an excellent story that both keeps you in the modern current world and also takes you away from it into a time that existed a long time ago and also never existed, a place that's mostly inside our minds, particularly those of us who are parents and more than anything just want our children to be safe and to have happy lives, but know that the world out there is a terrifying place. Sometimes the world in here can be a terrifying place that they need protection from. Until next time, this is Roy, wishing you happy reading.